Hello. In this week's Torah portion, Behaalotecha, we learned something important about Moses. Quote, "Now this man Moses was exceedingly humble, more so than any person on the face of the earth." Wow, what a generous assessment. But what does the word humble mean? Anav in Hebrew. The Midrash says it means lowly and patient. Ibn Ezra said it means never asking for recognition or reward. Da'at Kenim says it means never responding to unwarranted criticism. Contemporary Rabbi Pini Duner said it means placing others first. Humility appears in different guises. First, there is real humility. It is defined variously as lack of pride, lack of haughtiness or arrogance, feeling small and unimportant in the scheme of things, feeling ordinary or insignificant. The word comes from the Latin humus, meaning earth. So humble means as low as the earth relative to the sky. Then there is the false humility of those who know they have accomplished important things, who know others know it, but want to appear virtuous by not insisting on it. Golda Meir once said to Israeli war hero Moshe Dayan, "Don't be so humble. You're not that great." There is also the necessary humility of those who haven't done much. Churchill once said of a fellow politician, "Yes, he's very humble, and he has a lot to be humble about." And finally, there's the humility of those who want to make sure you recognize and appreciate their humility. Here's a passage from the Talmud in which the rabbis talk about the virtues of their long-dead colleagues. Quote, "When Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai died, wisdom ceased. When Rabbi Eliezer died, scholarship ceased. When Abba Yosef ben Ketanta died, piety ceased. When Ben Azai died, diligence in the study of Torah ceased. When Ben Zoma died, good teaching ceased. When Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi died, humility ceased." Rav Yosef replied, "Don't include humility, because I'm still here and I'm very humble." What is the Jewish view of humility? Obviously, that it is desirable. Moses is presented as a paragon of humility. The Talmud tells us that God himself is humble. Quote, "Wherever you find a reference in the Bible to the might of the Holy One, blessed be He, you also find a reference to his humility." The Torah tells us that even a king must not feel superior to his brethren. King Solomon tells us in the book of Proverbs, quote, "God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Everyone who is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord." The prophet Micah includes humility among the three things God wants us to do. Quote, "Do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God." The Talmud says flatly, humility is the greatest of all positive attributes. It even adds, scholarship is only with the humble. It means, presumably, that you have to be humble enough to admit you don't know before you can start to learn effectively. All Jewish commentators agree, however, that humility is not self-debasement. It is not self-deprecation. It is not self-effacement. It is not thinking poorly of yourself. Maimonides said that humility is the halfway point between self-deprecation and pride. The Hasidic masters put it even better. Humility is not thinking little of yourself. It is not thinking of yourself at all. Now, let us step back and qualify all this. Is humility always a virtue? Is pride always a vice? Our tradition always acknowledges human nature. In this case, it recognizes the fact that without the desire for pride in our accomplishments, we would simply not accomplish anything. The Midrash says, quote, "When God created the world and said, 'And behold, it is very good,' God was referring to the evil inclination. Can the evil inclination then be very good? That would be extraordinary. Yes, because without the evil inclination, no man would build a house, take a wife, beget a family, and engage in work. So said King Solomon in Ecclesiastes, and I saw that all labor and all achievement in work was the result of man's envy and rivalry with his neighbor. This is a severe indictment of humanity. It suggests that we achieve things to show off, to gain the admiration of others, to have more money, to have more possessions, to get the girl or the guy, to do better than our neighbor, to be ahead of the competition, to win prizes, to exercise power, to show those who said we would never amount to anything, to be remembered after we die. None of this is altruistic. But without these base incentives, we would not achieve anything. There would be no progress. They are essential for the continued existence of the world. So the driving force behind our successes is bad impulses. So it's no surprise that the Talmud says, the greater the man, the greater his evil inclination. Now we know why the great are great. Also, there's a time to be humble and a time to stress your accomplishments to others. You must not be humble when applying for a job, when applying for a raise or a promotion, when applying to college. You must not be humble when you want to convince someone that he should trust you or grant you favors. In short, sometimes you have to advertise and sell yourself. To quote Hillel, if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? To me, a lifelong student, learning has been a humbling experience. Because the more I learn, the more I become aware of how little I know, the more I become aware of how much more I have yet to learn, and most importantly, the more I become aware of how much more is simply unknown. Humility and pride are simply the product of what you compare yourself to. If you compare yourself to God, to the great names in history, to the amount of knowledge we have yet to learn, or to the vastness of the universe, then humility is in order. But if you compare yourself to competitors or detractors, or when you honestly realize that you have truly done something good, something no one else has done, then pride would not be out of place. I carry in my wallet a card that many Jews also carry in their wallets. On one side, it quotes Abraham in the Torah, quote, "As for me, I am but dust and ashes." On the other side, it quotes the Talmud, "The world was created for my sake." As Maimonides implies, the proper attitude is the exact midpoint between believing you're just dust and ashes and believing the world was created just for your sake. Humbly submitted for your approval. Shabbat Shalom.